Hi, this is Diane Crocker. I'm with Larry Schnapf, a New York City environmental attorney. We're at Yankee Stadium at our due diligence at dawn. Larry, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
A couple quick questions. I'm interested in how your attitude toward environmental due diligence has changed in light of current market conditions.
Well, like a lot of other risk factors, environmental issues are becoming more important. What we're seeing is a lot of the banks have loans that they can't sell right now, where they may have not been very good diligence because it was done under a much different environment. And so a lot of banks are selling loans, and normally in the old days people would buy loans and just piggyback on the existing diligence. We're seeing a lot of the loan purchase now because the values of the loans are questionable. They're actually doing their own diligence. So if you're selling loans, you should expect lots of questions from mezz lenders and purchasers of loans. And if you're buying loans, you're going to probably find yourself wanting to know more information because the diligence that was done in the, as we call the Henny Youngman economy, wasn't very good in many cases.
Yeah, but all good news for the market.
It's good news for people in the environmental, community that diligence, like every other risk factor, is now we've discovered a risk again.
Now, what about vapor intrusion? How much does that play into the deals that you're working on?
Vapor intrusion has actually been very interesting. The last 6 months, maybe it's because the ASTM standards finally, people hearing about it, but there seems to be a lot of vapor intrusion issues. It seems to have hit the mainstream. Most of it, the key issue seems to be the off-site migration of vapor intrusion, not necessarily the on-site, because that typically would have been probably flagged anyway because of on-site wreck.
Right.
But we're seeing a number of sites now. The risks of the off-site migration is actually what's driving. In other words, you're looking at a property that's being impacted by an off-site vapor intrusion issue. We're seeing sites listed now reopened because of the migration of vapor intrusion from a contaminated site to, say, neighborhood or adjoining property.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about climate change due diligence, which I know you've been following closely. How many years away do you think we are before that's kind of a standard environmental due diligence risk consideration?
I think we're getting pretty close. There's over 100 cities now that have implemented their own green building or climate change initiatives, and about half of those have mandatory green building requirements. So if you're going to be financing or buying a building, you have to look at the local green building initiative, if there is one, and B, does your building comply with it, because it's not only just new construction, but every city that has mandatory requirements has different levels of thresholds for what kind of renovation triggers the requirements. So you're going to want to know basically if the plans for the building that you're purchasing or lending is going to have an impact. You'll have to comply with green building initiatives. And it's also a way for lenders and property owners in this environment to extract extra value from your buildings, because if you know that your building's going to be renovated to a green standard, you're probably going to be able to attract better rents and have a low operating cost. So you actually may be able to get a better loan on long terms.
Okay. Thanks very much, Larry, for joining us. Take care.